So oftentimes we perceive danger when something is coming up. So we're going to check out this moment and look for any danger, any threat before these sensations that the mind often thinks are threatening comes on board. So just in this moment, I'd like you to look around. Really look at this moment and see if you can find anything in the visual field that is causing harm or posing a threat. Now, there might be some uncomfortable sensations already, but just allow that. And outside of that skin line, seeming skin line, I want you to notice the body is completely safe. And then we could open the way that we're looking till we see the whole moment, including the body. And notice the body is included in the safety of the moment. No harm, no separation. You can't take the body out of this moment unless you have a thought about it. But notice what happens to thinking when you really, really look at the whole moment so that you can see no harm. In fact, you might notice the opposite of harm. You might notice the stillness. You might notice the space. And when the safety of the body is confirmed in your experience of the visual moment, I'd like you to shift your attention to listening. And there's a whole auditory symphony in this moment. The sound of this voice, the sound of a thought as voice, and any other sounds that may be here. Notice how attention has to relax to listen to the sounds of the moment. What happens to the voices of thought when you listen wide? Perhaps they disappear, slow down. It's not necessary that they do. It's just easier to listen in between them when there's spaces. And if we were to hear the moment like an infant hears the moment, these voices would just be sounds. They would lose their meaning without the ability to think. What is it like to contemplate that for a moment? That a thought devoid of meaning is just a sound in the now. And is it possible now to really look if a thought can actually do any real harm to anything? Now, a thought may cause a contraction, but just for now, let's view thought as a sound. And a sound in the absence of meaning. Can you find any threat in this moment? In anything you hear? And notice as attention explores the moment that what it's moving in mostly is silence. Ah, the sound of my voice appears and disappears. A voice in the mind might arise and then disappear. What remains? Is it moving? Is it noisy? Would not this be equanimity? The silence that allows any sound? Whether the sound has meaning or no meaning? Can you find in your experience anything harmful in this moment? Notice there's a slight willingness. A willingness to experience whatever arises next. Silent willingness. Can you notice that the silence is judgment free, that the judgments arise in thoughts as sound? In the silence that has no judgment. And you're noticing, perhaps, all the sounds are being held in this silent space of listening. And doesn't the silence and the space encompass everything experienced? Holding everything not just the thoughts or the sensations or the colors and shapes, but holding it all. Allowing it all. And is it possible that this is where the safety that we've always longed for is? Perhaps there was violence to the body at one time. Could you allow the space of silent listening to be experienced as the opposite of whatever happened? If there were angry voices, can you hear the gentleness of the silence? If there were judgments, can you hear that the silence has none? If there was no intimacy, just notice that this silence holds all sounds, holds the whole moment with incredible here-ness, incredible intimacy. Just allow this noticing space to be seen and experienced for what it is. Hasn't the body mind always just wanted to be seen? In this moment, isn't that apparent? That's what's happening. Apparent. All the thoughts heard, really heard. So if there's an experience of that, can you allow the body then just to relax into the loving, gentle silence of this moment? And if you can see there's 100% safety in the visual field and the auditory field, would it be okay? Would it be okay in the safety of this moment to relax everything and allow any sensations that may want to arise to rise in the safety of the moment. And I want you to notice if the silence is disturbed by any sensation. Is anything in the visual field or the seeing of it disturbed by what is felt? And if a thought arises, can that be heard? If a thought is scared or wants to push away the sensation, notice the sensation is already being felt. But the voice of fear doesn't make the sensation go away. Can both be held in the whole moment. And we've been taught these sensations are locked in a body or a body part. But when you look wide open, is that true? Perhaps it's not. Perhaps it's not what we were taught. Perhaps these contractions can expand beyond the boundaries of the body into the safety of the whole moment. And if by chance it gets scary, then just notice what's causing that. Is it anything other than a thought? And can that thought be comforted by the silence? And in a moment, it will be gone. There may be images or descriptions that arise as a thought. Pain in the back. But wait a minute. Isn't that just a thought? What if it's just a pain in the whole moment of safety? And what if we could even take the label of pain and let it disappear? Perhaps it was only painful because it was so shoved in such a small area. But in the absence of thinking, of labeling, in the absence of visual containers, in between, what happens to those energies? Now, is it possible to notice that everywhere there's a different sensation? There's the silent noticing of it, as if it's being held from the inside out. And we can take our attention where it's most intense. And then, just like we open focus in the visual or the auditory field, is it possible to notice any sensations around the point of intensity? And any sensations around those sensations? Noticing as attention opens, every sensation is contained within the silent, gentle noticing. And keep relaxing. And allow that attention to keep reaching beyond the skin line. You might close your eyes. I notice with eyes closed, there's no more shape to the body. There's just space. And can attention keep relaxing into the boundless space given all the room that it needs. Noticing the safety, the safety, safety to feel, safe to feel. Noticing that no sensation can affect the noticing of it. No sensation can make the silence go away. No sensation can affect the space that it's arising in. No more outline of body. Energy free in space. Completely allowed. And ever so gently, allow attention to narrow and find where it hurts the most, where it's the most constricted. Notice any thought that says, I'm doing this to get rid of it. And let that be held in the silent, compassionate gentleness of the moment. Of course, a thought doesn't want to hurt. Letting attention go again to the most intense part, noticing that it's happening in the noticing. Wherever the sensation is, it's being noticed. And then start to relax attention again. Notice what other sensations are here. Slowly, slowly relaxing, noticing no harm, no harm, in the safety of the silent moment. That which has been held in and down, given permission to leave the imagined parameters of the body into the field of aliveness. Into the field of noticing. Even the outline of the body being felt. What's outside of that in this field of presence? There may be emotions that happen as these energies are released. There may be pictures. There may be voices, but notice them for what they are: images, voices, sound, sensation, floating in the eternal safety of now. Might even notice the breath. Might notice with eyes closed that you're actually looking into space. That we have no evidence except in thought that there's a room when eyes open. Just space, presence, sensation. What is it like? What is it like to let things unwind finally, 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 in the safety of the moment? And if for any reason it gets scary, you can just open up the eyes and fact check. You can listen and fact check. Is there really anything here causing harm? And it's almost like a layering process. The next intense sensation may arise, wanting to be released, wanting to be seen, wanting to relax. Safety of the silence. Resting here. You can even open the eyes and notice still the sensations perhaps don't have any shape. Sensations free to be scattered in the moment, much like the colors and shapes, much like the sounds. What is it like to let go completely, unguarded? Everything's okay. Just look. Everything's okay. All thoughts welcome into the soundscape. All emotions welcome into the energetic field. All images welcome in the visual field. In this home coming. Welcome home.